Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark, a.k.a. Derringer. Today is Sunday, March 31st, and you are listening to episode number 202 of the Instant Action Podcast, your weekly source for Planetside news and information. As always, I'm brought to you by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. So what's up, everybody? It's you're listening to this on, April 1st for the most part, so... hopefully you guys all were able to finish your shiny hunts and your dagger, whatever that dagger is called. I can't even remember. I'm not going to lie. I gave up doing it after finding shinies really made me disgruntled and not want to play the game. The funny part is Drew said that I am bad at finding shinies. So thanks, Drew. He offered to lead me around sometimes, which... I did say that would be cheating, so I haven't taken him up on that, and that's perfectly fine. But yeah, he did say that I'm bad at finding them, and he's absolutely right. I'm terrible at finding shinies. So I kind of gave up on even trying to find them. I found a couple, and I've just kind of left it at that. And that's all it is. So today's the last day for me to do this, and I don't think I'm going to finish it, so that's that. Maybe we'll see these in the depot sometime or not. I do know that after last week's show, I did go out and purchase the Kindred, and that's one of my new favorite carbines in the game. If you're a TR player and you're using carbines and not using the Kindred, you better drop everything and unlock it with certs or buy it, because the thing is a beast. I'm afraid it's going to get nerfed sometime soon because of the way that it feels, but that's neither here nor there. I'm sure you've all heard enough from me, so you want to know what's in store for this week's show. Well, it's all really this week is sneak peek on some information that I have gleaned from the devs over at Daybreak Games working on Planetside 2 and Planetside Arena, that they've actually were nice enough to say that I could provide this information on this week's show. So again, everything that I'm going to talk about on this week's show is dev approved. So first, I'm going to start off with the newest integration that they have announced. Yeah, if you weren't aware, Planetside 2 now has an Alexa skill. I'm going to test that out and show you how that's working. After that, I'm going to talk about Planetside 2 and virtual reality. And then I'm going to finish this week by talking about Planetside Arena and what other consoles it might be coming to. So strap in as we hot drop into another episode of the Instant Action Podcast. So first up this week is what I think is probably the biggest news out of Planetside world for, it's been a while since they've released something kind of out of the box, really thinking outside the box more than anything else. And that's, like I alluded to at the beginning of the show, they have now brought Alexa integration into Planetside 2. Now, I know you're thinking, oh, is it right in the game? No, it's not in the game itself, but they, over at Daybreak Games, they designed a new skill for Alexa to give you information about stuff that's going on within Planetside 2. I've been playing around with this. I got access to this early, whereas most people are getting it today. If you're listening to the show on April 1st, then that's when this is actually going live. But I got early access to this past week, and I've been playing around with it a lot, and it's it's really robust. I would have never expected that they could push out something as good as this and kind of keep it under wraps as much as they did. Like I said, I'm really impressed with what they did, and I just wanted to play around with it kind of live. I have an Alexa, which I've told you guys about, and you guys know I love my. If you don't own an Amazon Echo or an Echo Dot or any of those things, I am 100% behind these things. They are a great invention. I got one 2 years ago. I'd never heard of the Alexa or Amazon Echo or the Dot or whatever. 2 years ago, I'd never heard of this thing, and I participate in Reddit Secret Santa every year. And 2 years ago, my Reddit Secret Santa person got me an Echo Dot. And again, I had no idea what it was when I received it, and now obviously everybody knows what the Echo is and what it can do and how cool it is. And like I said, we've been using it in my kitchen forever. I mean, before we got this thing, we had one of those under cabinet mounted CD clock radio type deals in the kitchen, and it took up the entire bottom of a cabinet. And now you can replace it with this tiny little hockey puck sized thing that can do everything that CD clock radio thing could do and more. Because you can set timers with it, and you can have it play any radio station you want. So I mean, in the morning, my wife wakes up, and when she's down making breakfast, she listens to NPR, and when I listen to one of the local radio stations for me in the morning and stuff like that. So I mean, they're cool. So it's only natural that the guys making Planetside 2, guys and girls making Planetside 2 and at Daybreak Games would move to put something like this into their game, because now at any time and anywhere, and maybe it's kind of putting me out of a job, you can ask Alexa different things about Planetside 2, about Planetside Arena, and things like this, and you'll get answers to all your various questions. And like I said, I've had some early access to this thing for the last week, so I've definitely been playing around with it. But let's do a little live stuff right now, and I'm going to physically ask these questions to my Echo Dot that I've got down here in my recording studio, and see what kind of responses we get from it to see how good this stuff actually is. So let's see what's happened recently. Well, obviously, NC Maxes have gotten a pretty big nerf recently, and obviously I covered this stuff on last week's show. So let's see what Alexa knows about this. So Alexa, tell me about the recent new conglomerate max changes.
On March 20th, all NC Max shotgun weapons received a cone of fire standardization, as well as having slug ammunition removed and short and long reload standardized. The scatter cannon, mattock, hacksaw, and grinder were affected by this change.
My goodness, how great is that? I mean, she's pulling information from the most recent patch notes. I don't know exactly how I guess it's called an Alexa skill. I don't know how the skill itself is written. I've never done anything like that myself. So I don't know if it's looking for specific words, but clearly it's not taking the entire patch notes themselves, but it's distilling it down into just a little piece of information that you need regarding it. Let's see what else is new. Well, we got the new carbines last week, which I don't know about you, but I'm having a heck of a time. Not a heck of a time. I'm having an enjoyable time playing around with the Kindred in particular. On last week's show, I had talked about how I was using the Horizon and the Charger more than anything else, and then I went and picked up the Kindred, and the Kindred is just an amazing carbine. I love it on my TR Engineer more than anything else. So let's see what Alexa knows about the Kindred. So Alexa, tell me about the Kindred.
The MGC-1 Kindred carbine fires high-caliber rounds quickly on trigger press and then settles into a more rhythmic firing rate after a short time. For TR use only.
That's a pretty good one. It's just a little bite-sized piece on what that carbine actually is. I like that she even adds that it's TR use only at the end. Obviously, you wouldn't know unless you knew. I mean, I know because I did the news on it. That's pretty good. Let's just ask a general question of her and see if she knows this. Alexa, when was the last game update?
The last game update was March 20th. The last hotfix was March 29th.
Okay, that's programmed perfectly because not only does she give us the last game update, but she also gives us the last patch when that date was. I bet I could ask her to go a little more in depth on it, but I don't know how much she can actually say on each of them. But at least I know, and I could ask that question at any time during the day, the week, the month, and I can find out when the game was last updated. So that's pretty cool. That's not bad at all. Now let's try a good one. This one should get an interesting. Well, I think I know what the response to this one's going to be, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Alexa, what's your favorite Planetside 2 faction?
The Vanu sovereignty, obviously. Technology equals might.
Yeah, anybody who didn't know that one was coming, you're living under a rock. Yeah, I'm not surprised. And I like the additional technology equals might added to the end of it. That's pretty good. Whoever programmed that one, A+ for putting that one together. Well, since we got a favorite faction, let's ask this one. Alexa, what is your favorite continent?
This may be a controversial answer, but I prefer Hassan because it's the only place to get Nick Silva's Sweet Paradise camo.
Well, that was not the answer that I expected to that particular question, but I'm I almost wonder if Nick had a hand in programming that one himself. I mean, why else would she have said what she said to that particular one? Regardless, that's pretty darn good. Now I'm going to ask a selfish question, and we'll see what we get out of this one. Alexa, are there any Planetside 2 podcasts?
Yes, the Instant Action podcast is my favorite. Would you like me to play the most recent episode?
Okay, I didn't expect that. Yes.
Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5,
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2, 1, mark.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark, a.k.a. Derringer. Today is Sunday, March 24th, and you are listening to episode 201 of the Instant Action Podcast, your weekly source for Planetside news and information. That is awesome. Oh, if you guys didn't know, I mean, you can already listen to the Instant Action Podcast on your Alexa, or I believe you can do it on your Google Home device as well. I don't own one of those. Well, I own one of those. It's in the box. I've never opened it because I'm 100% in the Amazon Echo world of things. Ecosystem, I guess, is the word I was looking for. So I've never tested it with the Google Home, but I do know, like I said, that you can ask your Echo to play the most recent episode of the Instant Action Podcast, and it will play it. So I'm not surprised that they could throw something like that into the Echo itself. Well, let's ask a controversial question of Alexa. Alexa, what do you think about the Combined Arms Initiative?
To quote Rel, "Aw, suck my nuts. Get your arms combined."
Whoa. That was not the response that I expected from that. I think Rel might have programmed that one, or someone thinking that might be a hilarious response to that one. So, I mean, as you can see, there's some pretty good Planetside 2 stuff built into this. Let's ask it some Planetside Arena questions now. All right, first up, Alexa, when will Planetside Arena be released?
On February 15th, Daybreak Games announced that Planetside Arena would be delayed until summer of 2019, but will be available on both the PC and PS4.
Okay, that's good. She's at least up to date on what we know regarding Planetside Arena, or at least what they're going to tell us regarding Planetside Arena. Let's just try another generic one. Alexa, what classes can you play in Planetside Arena?
At launch, you will be able to play the Assault, Engineer, or Medic classes. Each class has its own unique abilities that will help you turn the tides in any fight.
Okay, again, well, that's just general information that we should be able to get from this. Let's see, what can we ask her now? I think she must not have a lot of Planetside Arena stuff in it, so let's go back to Planetside 2, and let's have a little fun with this now. Let's actually see how they've integrated it into their Planetside players site as well. So let's see. Romus isn't going to do a veteran's voice this week. That's fine. So let's start off with Romus, and let's say, Alexa, what are the player stats of Romus on the PC?
Romus on TR is BR60 and is a member of the outfit Team Ham on Emerald. His KD is 1.39 with a score per minute of 207. His most played class is Engineer at 37 days and 3 hours. His top weapon is the Rams .50M.
All right, there's a little info on Romus there. Romus, you got to get your KD up a little bit, and odd that you play the Engineer most, but the Rams is your best weapon. You play Infiltrator a lot too, so that's certainly there. So let's try somebody else. I know Shades always wants to know what his stats are. So Alexa, what are Defensive Shades player stats on the PC?
Defensive Shades on VS is BR100 and is a member of the outfit Bushido Way on Emerald. His KD is 4.26 with a score per minute of 494.8. His most played class is Heavy Assault at 30 days and 13 hours. His top weapon is the Beetlejuice 54A. That
is a pretty badass KD, if I do have to say so myself. So good job, Defensive Shades. Let's try Gelos and see what his is as well. I know he'll appreciate this. So Alexa, what are the player stats of Gelos on PC?
Gelos on NC is BR74 and is a member of the outfit Black Arrows on Emerald. His KD is 2.88 with a score per minute of 435.6. His most played class is Heavy Assault at 42 days and 9 hours. His top weapon is the L1A Anchor.
Very good. And let's see if it also applies to PS4 players too. So let's do my own character on PS4. So Alexa, what are the player stats of Derringer VS on PS4?
Derringer VS on VS is BR20 and is not in an outfit on Genudyne. His KD is 2.5 with a score per minute of 175.8. His most played class is Heavy Assault at 19 hours and 6 minutes. His top weapon is Orion VS54.
So there you go. Proof I do have a PS4 character. As you can see, 19 hours. I certainly haven't played it a lot. But yeah, proof that it's out there. So as you guys can see, the integration here with the Planetside player site is pretty spot on. I mean, I checked all those, and those are all the current stats of all those players as of this recording. So again, I'm overall very impressed with what Daybreak Games has been able to put together regarding this integration with an Alexa skill for Planetside 2, and also, as you can see, for Planetside Arena. And I am really excited to see where they go with this in the future. So with that, let's move on to our second topic this week. Okay, second up this week is some additional news that has just been released just in the past hours ago before I'm starting to actually record this episode. So this is brand new news that not too many people even have read about yet. So just, I'm sorry if I'm going to blow your mind with this being the first that you're hearing of it, but this is something specifically for PlayStation 4 players, because you guys always seem like the redheaded stepchild of Planetside 2. So this is good news for you guys, especially for those of you who have the VR headset for the PlayStation 4, because coming this summer, the devs are also releasing Planetside 2 as a VR title on the PlayStation 4. You heard it right. It's going to be Planetside 2 in VR. So put that helmet on, that headset on, and you're actually going to be running around live in the battlefield. I mean, sure, it's going to look pretty similar to what you're already seeing on your screen now, but you're going to be able to get that VR-esque-ness of playing Planetside 2. I haven't purchased one yet, but this news is definitely making me reconsider not owning one of the PSVR sets for the PlayStation 4. I think this is something that will make me come and play Planetside 2 on the PlayStation 4 a lot more than I do currently. I mean, I'm not a big fan of VR, but I'm a sucker for Planetside 2. So anything that would get me to do more VR is something that I can certainly get behind and be a big proponent of. Again, I'm not a fan of current VR stuff. It just doesn't really call to me. I mean, I remember going to some VR expo back in Boston, and I mean, I'm talking about this probably the mid 90s. I went to something like this, and VR at that time was just absolute garbage. And even the thought of VR back then kind of turned my stomach. It was something that I thought was a fad and would never take off. But now that we're seeing more and more titles that are VR, I think that we are getting to a point where virtual reality is a much bigger thing and something that will continue in the future more. I mean, I'm really drawn to the Star Trek game, the Bridge Crew game that's available on PS4. That's something that I think is really interesting and really cool. I think bringing VR to the PS4 is going to bring stuff like that. And I don't know how they're going to ultimately integrate it, because obviously doing VR, I mean, I guess you could do it inside an aircraft, but really VR inside, I guess you could do it inside of a vehicle too. I mean, you're not going to be able to obviously go into that third-person character view for the vehicles while you're using the VR, but I think it's going to be really, really good when we're talking infantry. I do kind of have this sneaking suspicion that you're going to need to upgrade to the PS4 Pro if you haven't already in order to take advantage of the VR. They're not saying that. Again, the news is very fresh and there's not a heck of a lot of information out on it. So I'm really just kind of speculating at this point what we're going to be seeing. But I do think that Planetside 2 as a FPS, MMO FPS, really would lend itself nicely to sort of that VR environment. I'm dying to see some early screenshots of this, or maybe if they're going to have an early beta of this. I would love to get in on this. I'm assuming that when I get to go out to California in a couple months, that hopefully they'll have some of this technology available, and maybe I can get a sneak peek on it and maybe give you guys a little info regarding it. But again, you're hearing this news right away from me. Planetside 2 is coming to PSVR on the PlayStation 4. So again, just one more reason to get your hands on a PS headset at this point to take advantage of this when it does go live. But with that, let's move on to our third and final topic for this week's show. And that final topic is regarding Planetside Arena, because there is some additional new information regarding Planetside Arena. And this is coming directly from the community manager. We know Roxley is doing the community management stuff for not only Planetside 2, but a lot of the Planetside Arena stuff. And if you've been following her Twitter closely, you'll note that she has really been hemming and hawing about whether she's going to purchase a Nintendo Switch. And obviously, you guys listen to the show, that's something that I have purchased recently. But the information coming out of her Twitter account is that the Planetside Arena is officially coming to the Nintendo Switch. Yes, I know. Very interesting because they haven't even announced that it's going to be coming to the Xbox anytime soon. So for them to be jumping systems like that and already considering putting it on the Nintendo Switch is kind of big news. So anybody out there who owns a Switch, that's pretty exciting information that they've just put out to us. I mean, I feel like the system itself might be a little lacking to do something like Planetside Arena, but we do know they were able to bring Fortnite to the Switch. So, I mean, there certainly should be no reason that they're going to run into any issues with Planetside Arena being available on the Switch. And I'm really, really hoping that this means they're also going to be looking to bringing this onto the Xbox, Xbox One at this point, especially if they're already talking about bringing it to a different platform other than what Planetside 2 is on. That's really interesting news and really big news. And again, just some news that we're releasing right now on, and again, I'm recording this on the 31st, but this is all April 1st news that's being revealed to all of us that are getting excited about Planetside Arena. But with that, let's close out this week's show and head over to housekeeping.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
Housekeeping.
Go away.
I coming anyway?
So, unfortunately, no voicemails, no emails this week, except for the generic spam voicemails that I seem to get all the time. Again, that's going to be it for this week's show. But as always, how can you get in touch with me or the show itself? First off, you should be visiting my website, which is www.instantactionpodcast.com. You can also email me at instantactionshow@gmail.com. You can call me like the spam bots do at 347-4VM-4PS2. Those digits are 347-486-4772. And finally, please also follow the show on Twitter at InstActPodcast. But in closing, if you've enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on your podcast listening avenue of choice, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere else. Also, feel free to tell your friends and outfit mates about the show. But finally, thanks for listening and keep spamming that Join Combat, formerly known as Instant Action button. Derringer out.
Yeah, that's a joke, son. Don't you get it?